Alright, we're going to come for Havoc number 2. I'm going to continue with my saga of growing up mixed in America. However, I wanted to touch on a thing or two first. Where is it? There it is. So this young man here, yeah fella, this guy. Alright, so let me state this. Personally, I don't know this man, but he gave The Rock a hard time. And I started off in my first Growing Up Mixed in America video teeing off on that. So this video is about this young man and his message to The Rock. And this young man is a black Trump supporter who's against The Rock, who is clearly a Biden supporter, because that's what this video is about. So did y'all see this video? If you support this guy, good for you. If you don't support this guy, good for you. I don't know this guy, I don't support this guy, and I damn sure don't support Trump. And I'm sorry to say this, if you are Asian, Mexican, Latin, Native American, or black, and you support Trump, y'all need to go and do some of your research on some of the racist shit that come out this man's mouth before you go support him. Now, I get it. You know, especially you black people who are not so much as woke as you claim to be. I'm not a Trump supporter. And I'll be honest, I only voted for Biden because Elizabeth Warren wasn't on the damn ticket anymore. That's it. Now, let me explain to you, one, why I was voting for Elizabeth Warren, because of all the Pocahontas jokes. And it would have been fucking fantastic to have her pop in out of nowhere, come from behind victory, and blow Trump's ass out of the water. And maybe, and I'm hoping too much, maybe, that she would have started looking more into Native American issues to support her Native American blood, even though it's only 1/16 of that. Now, let me introduce myself in case y'all are new to my channel. My name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2. I am of Cherokee, black, and white descent. I don't have the right to be a racist, but I will call a racist out in a New York minute. And this was a clear case of reverse racism. So they started chunking in on The Rock. Mr. Harris Jr. I'm also a junior. Mr. Harris, I have no personal grief with you. But I do have a grief with your moral compass and the shit you've been smoking. Because you go into Rock, you go in on The Rock heavy as hell in this video. Heavy as hell. Start laying in about his money and how he's one of Hollywood's biggest actors and has a movie coming out every month or whatever. Okay, yeah, I'm an actor who has no movies coming out ever because my career hasn't taken off. So any movie that I have is right here on YouTube, and will go to my Instagram page and my Facebook page or whatever. But let me explain this to you, sir, because you're a light-skinned brother, so clearly you're not just all black. But, you know, a lot of light-skinned people don't know that very few all black people are light-skinned unless they are like out of Egypt. Alright? Let me explain that dichotomy for people who don't know. The lightest people of black were the Moors and Egyptians. And the Moors may have very well been Egyptians. And don't ask me how that shit works, but it's all about the dichotomy of what area of Africa you come from that sets the tone for your skin tone. Do not ask me how that works. I am not a scientist. I am not a pigmentologist or whatever the hell it is that the study of skin. But I will tell you this, that 9 times out of 10, if you were born in America and your skin is light, somebody in your hen house was white. Whether it was a black male or a white female, or a white male and a black female. Somebody in your bloodline is white, just like in my bloodline, because had there not been slavery, I would more than likely been Native American and not black. However, it's all good. I am mixed. I am proud of my heritages until they do something stupid. Welcome for doing something stupid. Let me explain to y'all. Either y'all are very young or you're riding with shutters on about some of the shit that I've said about President Trump. Now, I did say some shit about Obama. There wasn't a president like, but it was because when Obama came in, I lost my fucking job. You know, without question. I cannot blame Obama for that. I can blame my bosses at the company that I work for who didn't like the fact that I'm more than willing to brown nose, but I'm not kissing your asshole. And that's on me. That has nothing to do with Obama. because Obama did give all the car companies payouts. Now, Honda and Dodge, and the company in which I work for, they didn't really have a payout. But there was a loophole that said, James goes to work, James shows up on time, James stays late. How do we fire this motherfucker? We kill his job, which is what they did. So I didn't get fired, they killed my job. Alright, let's get it straight. I lost a lot in 2008, as I had 2 jobs and I went down to 1. By the time 2010 came along, my ass was military bound, which I should have went to the military first instead of trying to get a damn decent job. I should have just went straight for the military, which I should have kept trying to do since I had been trying to get in the military since high school. Irrelevant. So the problematic problem that I have with Mr. Harris Jr. here is how hard he came down on the rock, because Mr. Harris is an avid Trump supporter. And my problem with Mr. Harris is that he's a Trump supporter. And my problem with Trump supporters, especially if you're a color, if you're a white and you support Trump, I really don't hold that against you. And I know that sounds biased as hell, but I don't hold that against you, and here's why. Like when Obama was in the first time, and I voted for Hillary, which while Obama had to get my vote because I voted for Hillary and she lost, Obama got the black vote and the Asian vote and the minority vote for the simple fact of his skin tone. Simple as that. Now the second time, he probably earned those votes. But that first time, people wanted change and they got it. And Congress, no matter what everyone else says, everybody in Congress done everything they could to stop that man from doing his goddamn job. Point blank period. Everybody did everything they could to stop Obama. And y'all don't have to like what I said, but it's the goddamn truth. And I tell you 99.9. Every time he tried to lay a bill down the pipe, it was like, nope, we're not going to do that. Obamacare, they fought him tooth and nail on that. And that's why you got the shit that we got right now. Because they fought him tooth and nail, and Congress actually has the power to overthrow president's laws or rules or whatever the fuck that shit is. But they do have some of the political power to decide on how you're going to fucking live if you go to the hospital. Alright? Or whether you're going to live or die, and if you're going to have a $1,000 bill versus a $15,000 bill, which you might as well just cut off your arm and your leg right there and give it to them. Now, our illustrious president talks about reform and replace, and ain't done neither one, but there you go. You're supporting Trump. If you're white with me, you get a complete hall pass, and it's not because I'm being a racist or a dick. It's just that I really don't expect much more unless you were a Bernie supporter and jumped on the Biden bandwagon. Alright? I wasn't going to vote for Bernie, and I wasn't going to vote for Biden, and I wasn't going to vote for Harris. Now, Harris was like the last female choice that if the other lady, who I can't remember, and the lady that was a veteran who dropped out before she even dropped in, would have been there over Warren. But Warren, being called Pocahontas and me being part Native American, and she proving that she had 1/16 of Native American blood in her, and she got my vote for that simple fact. And because she was a woman, and I like to see, if I live long enough, what a woman would do in charge of millions. Now, for all those who are Trump fans, I have nothing against you, just your moral compass, because of the stuff that I have posted, and you either refuse to believe it, even though I got these videos off of YouTube and off of news clips from CNN back in the day, and I was graduating high school when he decided that his casinos had more value than Native Americans, who this country should have never been taken from in the first place. And I'm sorry if I'm offending you. I have Native American ancestry, so I would be damn sure to be here when they uprose and took the place back. But because of all the treaties and the 1924 Native American rights, there's some clusterfucks that still need to be worked out. But at that same time, we got this white fella. And not because he's just a white fella, but Donald Trump could be black and I'd still say the same shit. Because then he'd be pro-black supremacy. And I don't think there should be any supremacy of anything. We should all just be humans and live free and be peaceful. But that shit ain't happening. So I go into these videos in 1993 where he's about the casinos and why Native Americans don't have to pay taxes in their casinos. Oh, well, because their tribes need money on these piece of shit reservations that we force them on. as Americans. No, motherfuckers, we're gonna chop off your hair. We're gonna rape your women and make your children go to school and chop off their hair and keep your heritage and kill your language so that you can't talk. But nobody's considering that shit. When he's talking about these casinos not having to pay taxes, well, the people on the tribe need to eat. We can't grow buffalo. We can't chase them down. They became the endangered species. So across the land, bison is an endangered species. So that takes out half the Native American process in the middle of the country. And then you got whalers who are on the west coast from Alaska all the way down to California who are in those tribes that do whaling. And they're not allowed to kill whales anymore. Even though it was a tradition to go out and kill one whale as your rite of passage to manhood or womanhood. And nope, you can't do that. But we can't have money for the casinos to feed our people either, because of that asshat. But this black guy wants to follow somebody who not only has been racist to Native Americans, and not only have been racist to blacks, which I don't understand how anybody black is following him, and in today's world, he's been racist to Asians. Now, just because he hasn't reached your Asian yet, and FYI, Native Americans are biologically Asian, that explains my look. Anyway, the whole point is, what is wrong with you people? This dude has put Chinese people under the microscope of, we're going to fuck you up because we are afraid that you have the coronavirus, even if you're Chinese and ain't never been to fucking Wuhan, China, or China in general. I have a lot of Chinese friends. And I shun the day that I open up a news clip or I see it on the news that one of my Chinese friends that live in New York, that I love like a fucking brother, has been beaten to death by somebody black or somebody white because of their fucking ignorance and their racist fears incited by our president who says the Kung Flu or the China virus. Yeah, we got it. It came from China, but what you fail to understand is that these media platforms have power, and some people are ignorant to the fact that not all Asian people are Chinese, and they might just go up and say, oh, let me talk to this guy whose last name is Nguyen. Nguyen can be Korean, and it can also be Vietnamese. Among other Asian things, it's one of those interchangeable names. Might have never been to China. Poor little girl done got beat up in front of her father, or her father done got beat up in front of her because some asshole who heard the Chinese virus or the Kung Flu was spreadable and not knowing what type of Asian the person is, decides, hey, I'm going to take this back to this man and his daughter. I'm going to set a couple of people on fire, but you guys aren't watching those news clips, are you? You're on the internet, but you don't find these things, do you? No, of course you don't, because you don't care. You know why you don't care? Because you want to see the Kung Flu take out people, or you want to believe the Kung Flu is straight up taking out people. And not all Asians are from China. Even some Chinese that are born here in America that are biologically Chinese aren't born in China, didn't go to China, ain't been to China, ain't going to China, and yet still someone would be willing to attack them due to the rhetoric that comes out of our president's mouth. But y'all don't consider that shit racist. And you forgot the video where he asked a Chinese reporter to go ask China. But I'm sure y'all didn't think that was racist. And now let's flip it back to 1998 or 9 when the Central Park 5 was accused of raping a white lady, and these 5 young black kids went to jail for yay so many years, proven to be innocent. He won't apologize, and way back when that happened, the first thing he said was, we need to reinstate the death penalty and kill all 5 of them. These are young 5 black kids, and you guys are following this guy who wanted to kill 5 black kids who would later be proven innocent, who would not even think of apologizing to these young men who spent the majority of their youth and their life taken from them from a crime they didn't commit, which the DNA does not lie and prove them to be innocent, and yet till this day he still won't apologize. So you're following a devout racist and you're black. You're following a devout racist and you're Asian. You're following a devout fucking racist who told immigrants from Mexico that you are all rapists and murderers and drug dealers. Like we don't have a fair share of black and white drug dealers. Really? So your moral compasses, something's wrong with your moral compasses. Now I'm not saying Biden's a fucking saint. I'm sure he's done his dirt too. All politicians are dirty as far as I'm concerned. And even though Miss Warren only has that 1/16% of Native American blood in her, that does not make her a saint either. But she had my vote for that simple fact of that 1/16 of Native American blood, and because this asshole president of ours not only had the balls to call her Pocahontas in front of code talkers who were Navajo and Sioux, and I'm thinking to myself, why is anybody following this guy? But, you're fired. The reality king, who is the president, who is also a racist, and I don't know shit about these Proud Boys and Antifa and whatever the hell these other damn groups is. I don't give a shit about none of them, because I don't follow that shit, because, the radicalization of Americans becoming ISIS was an Obama thing, and now the white supremacy and all these other groups that's popping out of anywhere is now the Trump thing. If y'all pay attention to how presidencies roll, each presidency has some kind of fucking personal or private war that comes to the surface that we all have to fucking deal with. When Obama was in office, there was the radicalization of Indian kids, Mexican kids, white kids, black kids, everybody joining ISIS. Alright? Y'all wasn't thinking I was going there? Oh yeah, I'm going there. I'm putting all the dirt out there. 99.9, remember? So, I talked bad about Trump. Let me talk about Obama's personal war with ISIS and how black kids, white kids, Asian kids, Mexican kids, Indian kids, not the Native American kind, the kind with the dots, were being radicalized to go join ISIS. And that was a big problem. And everybody was like, well, what's Obama doing about it? Obama did what he could, but the truth is, if you're not watching what your kid's watching on the fucking internet, your kid could be radicalized and become a member of ISIS, which has nothing to do with the fucking Muslim religion. They may be Muslims, but they're not all Muslims. Not all Muslims are ISIS. Just like that same thing with the Chinese virus. Not all Chinese people came out of Wuhan, China and started spreading the damn virus around the world. Oh, by the way, while we're on Asian viruses, H1N1 or SARS, Severe Asian Racist Syndrome, was another part of the Obama thing, which is why he said on his last bit of his term was, we need to develop something in case there is a biological catastrophe. And everybody pretty much gave him the finger, as they always have done while he was running the presidency. So when he stepped down and Trump inherited this shit, well, you gotta remember that Obama inherited the last presidency shit. And each one of them have inherited the last presidency shit. And the thing is no one takes accountability for the shit that the next president has to take over. And even the president that leaves out doesn't take accountability for it. It's like, nah, you know what? It's not my problem anymore. I served my 8 years. I'm out. Get my $2,000 check every month. Because I think that's like their retirement benefit or whatever. Because it's like the check that never stops after they stop being president. They still get a $2,000 check. Which they probably made more money with their jobs before they were president. But, president. So they get a check. After they get out of the office, they get $2,000 check. And I read that somewhere. That shit's probably changed since then. They'll probably make it more when they get out. But the point of the matter is, each president has something that they have to deal with when they're in office. But Obama didn't go, hey kids, why don't you guys go join fucking ISIS? He did everything he could to try and stop these radicalizations. Everybody else didn't do it, but he did. Now, with our current administration, who's talking about Proud Boys stand by and stand down, or stand by and stand ready, I don't know what the quote was. I don't really give a shit. I don't know who the fuck the Proud Boys are. Now, I've seen some frontmen from the Proud Boys who are black and Mexican. And I'm like, yeah, this is a farce. But if it happens to be true, it's still a farce and a distraction. Now, let's go with these other white supremacist groups and the Hail Hitler people and all this other shit. Now, when Obama was in office, a couple of those things actually happened too. They were swept under the rug. They weren't brought to the forefront, but they were there. You just have to be aware of this shit. Now, in my personal bias to Trump, I'm giving you my reasons of my personal bias to Trump. My Asian friends are in danger. Everybody that I know that was white were on the fence on, do we follow this racist bastard or do we stick with our guts? And, either way, like I said, if you're white, I'm giving you a freaking hall pass because you're in just as bad shape as everyone else. But as far as the people of color, who are black, Asian, Mexican, I'm not giving you a hall pass because there is seriously something wrong with you if you're following a guy who fucking hates you. Straight the fuck up. He fucking hates you. Any Native Americans following this guy, and any soldier following this guy outside of presidential orders, There's something wrong with you when you can have a guy come on and talk about a fellow soldier at arms, John McCain, and says, oh, I don't like him, he got captured, he's a sucker, he's a loser, he's a bottom feeder, or whatever the hell the stuff was that he said. And I was like, hold on, dude. Did you serve? Did you attempt to go to boot camp? Did you do any of that? No, you didn't. Did anybody in your family serve? Like my uncles? Because I have 4 uncles on my mom's side to serve. I have 1 on my father's side to serve. I served. I didn't serve the way I wanted to serve because I'd still be serving. I have brothers in arms that are dropping dead, getting shot over there. I have a nephew and a cousin who are going over there to serve so that we can sleep at night. And you're going to say that all soldiers are suckers and losers. Well, yeah, most of us go into the military because we weren't born with a silver spoon in our mouth, and that's one way we can see the world for free because we're going to get deployed somewhere, we're going to get assigned somewhere, we're going to go and do our damn job. Sadly, I got infantry. Sadly, I didn't get all the way through boot camp, but I still served. I got fucked up. I have a hip replacement. In my defense, I went in at 37 because I needed a fucking job because I couldn't get arrested getting a job in the Obama presidency. Because I had lost my damn job, and I had 2 jobs, and then I had nowhere else to go, and I got into the situation where it was either go out and start mugging drug dealers, but everybody knows who I am, they all know I know Kung Fu, so that would be a dead giveaway, and that would put my family in danger, or go join the military and try to make a difference. So I took the latter. I went to join the military to hopefully make a difference, but I'm stupid, so I wound up getting infantry. Then I fell in a fucking hole and ended my career before it could begin. I make no shame and no lies about that, and I can't shoot with shit. So we didn't know how bad I was damaged until I got home. So here's the thing on that. I still served. Legally, I served. There are a lot of servicemen who serve and never see a damn day of combat, and that would be those ROTC cats, which I wish I would have known about that because then I would have never seen a day of combat, and I would have just got training and they would have sent me into where I was doing for National Guard. But I didn't know about that shit. And, I don't really want to kill anybody. But, unless these are the option of doing that. But here's the thing on how that works. If you haven't served, if you don't have family members that served, you better thank a soldier every day. And you better especially thank the dead ones. And don't be calling us losers and suckers. Because when we put on those damn dog tags, we don't just put them on for our families, we put them on for yours. So you better get that shit straight. And for the commander-in-chief to say any soldier in any band, like whether it be a transgender soldier, a gay soldier, a straight soldier, a male soldier, a female soldier, to call any soldier a sucker or a loser, to insult John McCain who got captured in war, is an assault on all soldiers. And any soldier that's voting for this guy, there's clearly something wrong with your moral compass. I'm sorry. I believe our warrior ethos. Wrong wallet. Let me break that down for you because I don't go nowhere without my warrior ethos. Because once a soldier, always a soldier. And I don't go nowhere without my warrior ethos and my Jesus Christ card. I found that. It's a long story. But I don't go nowhere without my warrior ethos card. So, Soldier's Creed, I'm not going to read that because somebody can probably copy that shit and then infiltrate our shit. But, let's see. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. Those are your warrior ethos. Now, your warrior values I will read. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. I get you, soldiers, and your personal courage, but your integrity needs to be questioned. If you're a soldier, and after all the shit that Donald Trump has said about soldiers, if you're still willing to vote for this guy, you ain't got a choice in following him because he's the commander-in-chief. But voting for this fella who has no integrity, who has no honor, who disavows soldiers at every second that he gets when that shit comes into play about how soldiers are losers and suckers, no. You better start reading your warrior ethos because that army values of duty and loyalty and respect, I get the respect part. I get the loyalty because he's the commander-in-chief. But his honor and integrity, you might want to question it. And you might want to question yours if you're following him outside of the army and voting for this guy. Personal courage. Okay, I'll give you that. You're being personally courage to follow this guy. But, you know, I am an American soldier. Now, I am trained for profound warrior and tasks and drills. You know, I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough. Y'all remember that shit. I'm not going to give you everything. It starts and begins with I am an American soldier. Your warrior ethos means something to you, just like it means something to me, just like it means something to every soldier that has put on a dog tag and a pair of boots. But when you have a president that doesn't give a flying fuck about your race or the fact that you are serving, you are dying, you are out there defending this country, and he calls one of us a loser and a sucker for being a POW, prisoner of war. He's never seen the broad side of guns. He's never watched negligent discharge in boot camp shoot a fellow soldier. He's never watched you go down range in that training booth and watch your friends throw grenades and almost get killed. He's never done that. You soldiers have done that because you're full-fledged. You're out there, you're serving, you're saving our asses, and you're saving his ass. And yet, what does he say to Gold Star families? Your son was a very brave individual. Stop the camera. As soon as the camera stops rolling. Your son was a sucker and a loser. And you don't deserve to have the honor because your son was not an American. He was an Indian or Iranian or some Middle Eastern guy who served in the American army. He was a Filipino. He was something. He was some racial derivative. And he was a loser and a sucker. As a soldier, it appalls me that any soldier would vote for this motherfucker. I'm sorry. As a citizen, you know, vote for whoever you want, but I will question your moral compass. This young black guy is how I started this conversation because he started chiming in on the rock. But this young black guy must not be old enough to know about the Central Park 5. I'm 47, so I know. I thought it was 7 of them, but it's 5 of them. I remember that shit. I can tell you where I was when O.J. Simpson was on the news, because I was downstairs in this basement of this house doing some kung fu shit, working on what I was doing as training, because I never thought I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a cop, and I wanted to be the dangerous cop on the streets that didn't need a fucking gun because I'm good with my shit. Never given a shot. There's that. But this young man, this young Mr. Harris Jr. here, must not be old enough to know about the 1993 thing about Native Americans not being able to have money because their casinos don't get to pay taxes, and how our president went balls to the walls to try to stop that because they don't look like Indians to him. Alright? You know, people don't know what the fuck I am unless I tell them, and they're watching this video. You know, they don't know what the hell I am. They don't care. But I ask all of you people of color that are following this man, how much research do I need to do to convince you that you are following a racist besides watching the news and seeing the shit that flies out of his mouth, but y'all still don't get it? And until you do, there's nothing else I can do. So let me end this really swiftly. This was not hate speech. This was factual speech. And I apologize to anybody at YouTube or anybody here in my fan base that is watching that I have offended. I don't think I did any anti-racial slurs. I may have done racist slurs. I don't remember. I'm not going to rewatch this. I'm just going to post it. But if I have offended you and you are a Trump supporter, y'all know the drill. I'm not going to dislike you because of your support for Trump. I'm going to question your moral compass the same way you have the right to question mine for wanting Elizabeth Warren and having to vote for Biden, because I did vote for Biden. But I'm not going to lie to you on my channel. I'm not going to lie to you to your face. I may give you 99.9 because that's what most people can probably handle. A lot of people can't handle the whole 1,000, you know. So I'm going to give you what I know you can handle. On this channel, I do not lie to you. And I try to be as polite and respectful as possible, minus the cuss words. Because I cuss all the time. Unless I'm in one of those suits and I'm making a video for children, I probably cuss more than any sailor on the planet. But if you are supporting someone who does not like your race, you may want to look inside yourself and see what's going on there. Alright? I'm not Chinese. I got a lot of Asian friends. I did movies with a few Chinese guys. Adrian Cao and Eric Chen. So unless they're not Chinese and their names are interchangeable, there's that. But the Bowie sisters were from Vietnam. Philip was from the Philippines. And then there's me, the Native American black white guy. So that's that. Thanks for watching. BC.